welcome back to my channel. So I flipped 3 thrifted items for today's video and I was able to transform these pieces with just a couple of dollars. So make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the video if you want to see how I tackled these projects, and give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more DIY and home decor projects, and let's jump right into it. The base for the first thrift flip is this framed mirror piece that I found at Goodwill for $6.99. I really liked the shape of it, so I decided to turn it into a wall hanging accessory holder. I wanted to paint the frame a different color as I didn't care for this kind of red toned wood. I started by taking the piece apart by unscrewing the screws on the backside. This allowed me to easily paint all the framing portions without having to tape off the mirror to prevent any paint from getting on it. I made sure to store all the little screws aside so they don't get lost. Once they were all off, I was able to separate the two pieces from each other. I then went ahead and cleaned the mirror and the wood really good to get rid of any dust and debris. This is a must before any painting job. I used some painter's tape to tape off where the bottom frame touched the mirror before starting to paint the piece. I then used some chalk paint in the color French linen and a medium-sized brush to paint the frame portion. I chose to go with chalk paint for this project because I wanted that matte finish look. Plus, I didn't have to sand the wood framing, which makes the whole process so much easier and faster. Anyways, I fully painted the bottom frame with the first coat and set this piece aside to dry. I then repeated the painting process on the other piece. I made sure to paint all the inner and outer edges as well, since they will be visible once it's all put back together. After the first coat was on, I let this piece sit and dry too. After about 45 minutes of drying time, I gave both pieces a second coat of this chalk paint to make the color more opaque and to get rid of any streakiness. I let the second coat dry for about an hour and then put the pieces back together by attaching the screws in place. I wanted to add some hooks on the bottom shelf for hanging and organizing jewelry pieces. I just used 5 gold hooks out of our picture hanging kit and removed the top portion with pliers. We use this kit all the time to hang our art pieces, and I'll make sure to link it in the description box for you guys. In the next step, I spaced out the 5 hooks on the bottom shelf and hot glued them in place. For the final touch on this thrift flip, I added some burlap around the bottom shelf to hide the top of the hooks and to create a protecting ledge for accessories like watches. To do so, I folded the burlap piece in half to make it stronger and shorter at the same time, then hot glued it all around the bottom framing. That completed this first thrift flip project, and I think that this accessory holder came out really cute. It's minimalistic but functional at the same time. I think I'll eventually hang this in our closet where most of my accessories are stored away in drawers right now. For the second thrift flip, I turned this window frame piece that I got for $5.99 into a mood board / chalkboard combo for my office. I laid the frame on a piece of cardboard that I got from the dollar store and traced the inside of it with a pencil. Then using my box cutter and a ruler, I cut out a rectangle shape that is about ½ an inch wider than the outline. The extra ½ inch is for attaching the cardboard to the back of the frame in the end for a seamless look. In the next step, I laid down the roll of cork that I had in my craft stash and I placed the cutout cardboard piece on top. I used the marker to outline the same size rectangle on the cork. Then I went ahead and cut that to size using scissors. Once the cork piece was cut to size, I went ahead and hot glued it to the cardboard. The cardboard piece in this DIY plays a crucial role as it adds support to the back of the cork to ensure it doesn't bend or break once the project is complete. After gluing the two pieces together, I used some chalkboard paint and a foam brush to paint and cover the entire cork. I let the first coat dry and went in for a second coat to get a nice and full coverage. I wanted this mood board for my office to be multifunctional, and that's why I decided to go with the black chalk paint. But you can totally leave it as is, or you can paint the cork using acrylic paint to whatever color you like. Just keep in mind that it obviously won't have the chalkboard effect. While I was waiting for the chalk paint to dry, I spray painted the actual frame white to cover a few scuffs that it had. Again, make sure to pick a spray paint color that goes with your style and don't forget to customize it to your taste. After a couple hours, both pieces were dry and ready. In the last step, I used my staple gun to attach the corkboard to the back of the frame. Cutting the ½ an inch extra on the corkboard earlier was to make this part of the process easier. I stapled each side 3 times to make sure the corkboard is secure in place. That finished off the second thrift flip. I love how this chalk mood board came out, and I know I'm going to get some good use out of it in my office. In the last thrift flip project, I gave this glass vase that I got for $1.99 a facelift and turned it into a minimal boho decor piece with some macrame cord. All I used for this DIY was some macrame cord and hot glue. This has to be the easiest project ever, but sometimes that's all you need to transform a piece into something more aesthetic. I started from the bottom of the vase and hot glued one end of the macrame cord on the glass. I then continued gluing the macrame to the vase in small sections. I made sure that as I went up, all the rows were glued close to each other, so at the end, none of the glass would be visible. I basically repeated this exact same process over and over until I got to the top of the glass vase. I cut the macrame cord at the end and glued it neatly on the inside of the vase. That's it for this thrift flip. It was super easy and quick, and I think it turned out pretty good. If you want to jazz it up a little more, you can totally use some acrylic paint to paint a pattern on the macrame cord. But I like the simple boho look of this vase, and I decided to keep it that way. I hope that you enjoyed these thrift flip projects and learned some new tips and tricks to try on your own thrifted finds. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next video.